Okay, we're on number 13 for the final review worksheet. There's no multiple choice answers on this one. We work them all out. And when I look at this picture, the first thing that I recognize is that it's a secant. So remember your secant, the formula is the whole thing times the outside part. Okay, so I need the whole thing. So this whole thing is 32 times the outside part. And then I need the length of this whole thing. So the length of this whole thing, this piece is x and this piece is x. So the whole thing is 2x. So the whole thing times just the outside part. And I know that these are the same because they have them marked. These two pieces are congruent. So whatever this measurement is the same thing. So the whole thing is 2x, and then the outside part is x. So 32 times 9 is 288. And 2 times 2x times x is 2x squared. Divide both sides by 2. I get 144 is equal to x squared. Take the square root of both sides, and x is equal to 12. So it says find AB. So we just did. AB is 12. All right, the next problem, they give me a picture, and as soon as they ask me to find DE, I know that I have to separate this into a small triangle and a big triangle, because this is not going to be one of those where I can do the pieces of this transversal is equal to the pieces of that transversal. Because they want me to find DE, and DE is not a transversal, so I have to do similar triangles. So my scale factor right here is going to be 7/12, because I know 7 from the little triangle, it corresponds to 12 from the big triangle, so that's going to be my scale factor, and I don't think it reduces. So I can find DE. I called it X. You don't have to call it X. You can call it DE if you want to. X over the corresponding part is 8. So you cross multiply, and you get 12x is equal to, what is 7 times 8? Is that 56? And then we're going to divide both sides by 12. We'll make sure real quick that 7 times 8 is 56. Okay. And then divide by 12. And I got x to be, oh, for Pete's sake, I got x to be a decimal. So since this answer key is an exact value, I reduced the 56/12 to 14/3. So that is the measurement of DE. This is 14/3, which is about 4, well, no, it is 4 2/3, but okay, so we found DE. Now they want us to find BE, this piece right here. Well, if I find this piece, we'll call this Y. If I find this piece right here, I can subtract it from 18 and I'll know what BE is. So I'm going to do again, 7/12 is equal to Y over 18. And I'm going to cross multiply. 7 times 18 is 126. And that's 12y. Divide both sides by 12. And y is equal to, and that comes out to be 21/2. So y is 21/2, which is 10.5. 10.5 is an exact value, so I'm going to leave it, 0.5, but BE is what they wanted, and I just found this is 10.5. So 18 minus 10.5 comes out to be 7.5. So 7.5 is what I get for the answer to this one. So if we go check the answer real quick, this is number 14. Yep, they got 15 over 2, which is 7.5. So they got the 14 over 3 and the 15 over 2. So we got the right answers. All right, the next one, they want us to find BD and DC. So this is a postulate that I'm not 100% sure that you learned in Springboard. But what it says is that when you have a triangle and you have an angle bisector, we might do it when we do angle bisectors, I don't know. It's in every other geometry textbook I've ever taught from. I just don't think it's in Springboard. But when we have an angle bisector, and we do right here because it tells us the measure of angle 1 is equal to the measure of angle 2, what happens is the two pieces, the leg and the piece of this other leg right here that's attached to it, so 9 and x, make a ratio that's equal to 15 and 16 minus x. Now, I will talk to you about those measurements because you can see I wrote them in. I don't know these two pieces. All I know is that the whole thing is 16. So since BD is one of the things that I'm looking for, I called that X. Well, whatever BD is, if BD is 10, then this piece will be 10, this piece will be 6. If BD is 5, then this piece will be 5, this piece will be 11. So I know that there's a relationship between them. So whatever this one is, this was 16 minus X. And that allows me to write the ratio or the proportion that exists anytime I have an angle bisector. So again, the angle bisector is how I created these. And that comes from a postulate that you may not have learned out of Springboard. So now that I have a proportion, you solve it just like you do any other proportion. You cross multiply. So I'm going to multiply 9 times 16 minus x. I'm going to multiply 15 times x. This requires me to distribute. So 9 times 16 is 144 minus 9x. 9 times 1x is 9x. Okay, I'm going to add 9x to both sides to get this equation so that I can solve it. So 15 plus 9, I believe that's 24. Divide both sides by 24. And you get 6. So remember, I just found out this piece was 6, so that means this piece over here is 10, because the whole thing is 16. So BD is 6 and CD is 10. So we found those two measurements. Let's check the answer real quick. Number 15, 6 and 10. All right. Okay, so the length of the lateral edge in this cube is 6. Well, if it's a cube, then all measurements are 6. And they want me to find the lateral surface area, the total surface area, the volume, the length of BD, and the length of BH. All right, so let's see. The lateral surface area is the 1, 2, 3, 4 cubes, the 4 squares that each have an area of 36. So this front piece, side piece, back piece, left side piece, there's 4 of them. Each one of them is 6 times 6 is 36. So the lateral surface area is 4 times 36. That's 144. The total surface area is 6 times 36, because they're all 6 of the faces, all 6 faces are squares that are 6 by 6. So that's 216. And the volume is 6 times 6 times 6, which is also 216. So the only thing that I haven't found then is BD. Now BD is the diagonal of a square, okay? So we've got this AB is 6, and BC right here, this is BC, it's also 6, and they want me to find BD. Well, this is just a 45-45 triangle. So if this is 6, this is 6, this is 6 root 2. It's a 45-45 triangle. So BD is 6 root 2. And now BH, okay? BH is going to be the diagonal that goes there. So you can kind of see that right triangle that I have. This is HD, and then this is DB, and then this is BH. So we know this is 6. We know this right here, we just found it, is 6 square roots of 2. So I can find this by doing Pythagorean theorem. So, because this is a right angle down here, we have that right angle right there. So we have 6 squared plus 6 square roots of 2 squared is going to equal BH squared. So 36 plus 36 times 2, I believe, is 72, equals BH squared. And 36 plus 72 is 108. I know 108 is not a perfect square. So I'm going to see if I can't simplify it. And it does simplify as 6 square roots of 3 is equal to BH. So BH is 6 square roots of 3. All right, so let's see. I think I'm going to go ahead and stop this video so it won't be so long. I've lost my timer, so I don't know what the time is on it, but I'm going to go ahead and stop it and do the next video later.